Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots, ruined your black tie affair. Last one to know, the last one to show. I was the last one you thought you'd see there. And I saw the surprise and the fear in his eyes when I took his glass of champagne. I toasted you, said, honey, we may be through, but you'll never hear me complain, 'cause I got friends in low places where the whiskey drowns and the beer chases my blues away.
And
I'll be okay. Well, I'm not big on social graces. Slip on down to the oasis. I got friends in low places. John Elba, are you not singing? Why are you not singing, John? What are we doing? What is happening here? John Alba mailing it in just like he did on Saturday night.
What?
Okay. Yeah, your throat is sore. You said the same thing on Saturday.
Fuck Bob O'Neill.
Fuck Bob O'Neill.
Bob O'Neill.
Fuck Bob O'Neill. And I said, psychosis.
This one's for all the pals and O'Neill. Snatch a feed from the jaws of victory with the pipe gun and the chubby cheese. Distraction. Hey, podcast. Pure filth. Wins and losses don't mean shit. So what's Joseph Grinch as I do his bit? Distraction. Hey, roll up. 1, 2, 3.
Hello. Welcome, everyone, to The Distraction. Joseph, how are you?
I'm very good. I don't know if I'm better or worse for that, what I just watched, but that was something, man. I respected that, Jeremy. You had to lead the way there. That was tough, right? It's easy for them to jump in and everyone have fun, but you had to take the dive there, brother. I respect it. That was something to see.
Connor and John are still here. That guy.
Sean
left. Sean left. He's like,
Sean was like, I'm out of here.
Real quick. So, I just want to say this. Today is the last day of my TV news career, and I'm spending it on The Distraction with no voice. That should tell you how little I think of myself, number one. Number two, how highly I think of you guys. And Joseph, I just wanted to formally get a chance to say happy belated birthday to you, my friend.
I love that we're doing this for a week. This is tremendous. Real talk. I thought Sean Ross Sapp was going to kill me this past weekend because I guess they were a little late getting to the arena. And he asked in a group text, he asked for directions to the west entrance, which was where the media was going in.
And supposed to be going in. And
I saw the west entrance. I'm thinking to myself, 1850s West, take the railroad out to the, just something that, out of Back to the Future 3. So I was like, oh, it's over by the railroad. No one else picked up on the sarcasm in that. So Sean spent 20 minutes driving around looking for the railroad.
And then I felt bad because when he said, sorry about that, I grabbed him by his throat. That is honest.
You should have ripped his throat out like a Mortal Kombat.
Fucked me up. He fucked me up bad now. And
yeah, it was me.
And now, how am I going to wrestle my match against Davey M? How am I going to do this? I don't know.
Nah.
Well, I mean, I already told Joe happy birthday last week, but I do want to take the opportunity while we're issuing formal happy birthdays to also formally say, fuck Bob O'Neill.
Absolutely. 100%.
We can all agree on that. Yeah.
100%. But, hey, I love you guys. and I'm really excited because I'm going to be joining the distraction more now, regardless of whether I'm invited or not. So I look forward to it, and we'll be chatting real soon, okay?
I'm going to drop him the StreamYard login,
Sure.
and he'll just be able to, it'll be like unlocked all the
Was
time.
what happened yesterday.
Yes,
Farewell.
it is. Connor gave him the link, and I didn't know this at all. And it says, please give my money to my friend John Alba for lozenges since I bullied him into singing. I'm a little disappointed you didn't add the H to John Alba there.
That really gets me going.
Yeah.
It's what we came to see.
All right, can you guys leave? Like, we got like a show.
If you insist.
I mean, kind
No.
of. Do we have a show? I don't know what we're doing.
We don't. We
Jeremy,
what?
I got you free pizza this weekend.
Fair. So what does that have to do
Listen.
with anything?
It's a pretty big deal, Jeremy.
Guys in AEW
Yes.
call Miro king of the boys over there because he gets these screenings to happen. We saw how the magic was made. We saw it firsthand. We saw how that all happened.
I got you a
What am
birthday
I?
gift.
King of the lads over here? Is that
I
what
got you a
am?
birthday gift that you left.
King of the
that
sheets.
you left. that you left in Chicago because you're like, this is not important enough
No.
to carry in my luggage.
I did not leave it in Chicago.
Don't spoil it. That's the cold open next week.
Okay. I could not personally fit it in my luggage, and someone else had to take it and then ship it to me because it was so large.
It is a very big birthday gift.
It is. It's a huge birthday gift.
It's a huge birthday gift. All right, go away, y'all. Thank you guys. Bye.
Dude, John Alba legit said fuck Bob O'Neill like 5 times.
John Alba hates Bob O'Neill.
Same. No, I actually like Bob, you know.
I don't know
Especially now that he's a member of the All Elite Fleet officially. Jeremy, how have you been?
I'm good. I've been good.
Pretty
How about
eventful
you?
weekend, fair to say.
Yeah, it was all right. Oops. Oh, that's fine. Brenton Hester says, please make sure Bob O'Neill gets none of this. No, we don't get any of it, so but thanks, buddy.
Fair. How are we tackling this? So, for those that do not know, because I know we have an expanded Destruction universe, but this is the flagship show, right? This is the one that most people watch for some reason.
Unfortunately, yeah, for some reason.
I reviewed All Out on Patreon. You reviewed it on Twitch, right? You did like a solo show.
And sort of Patreon.
Okay.
Connor and I talked about it yesterday.
Do you think it makes sense to kind of put a bow on that deal? Because we haven't spoke about it together.
Yeah.
Like, look, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I know that people have tuned into this deal wanting some All Out takes because we have to be real here, Jeremy. It's probably the most significant pay-per-view. I mean, we can get expansive with that terminology, but it's the most significant pay-per-view since we've been doing this show for sure. Like, I mean, my initial reaction to that show was like, that's the kind of pay-per-view people are going to remember forever. But not just because the in-ring was great. With the ending, it's a moment in the timeline, right? Like, if you think this is a boom period, artistically, commercially, wherever you fall on that whole thing, even if you just think it's a cool time to be a wrestling fan, which I think it is, objectively, that was the event you'll point to, I guess, right? And, you know, in 20 years' time, that was, I mean, and again, look, trajectory's still going upward. They've just got these guys. But man, when All Out finished, it was like, it was hard not to feel like you just watched the center of the wrestling world like explode in the best way. It was an awesome show, right? You were there, Jeremy. Share some thoughts on the whole deal.
I tweeted immediately after. I was like, this is an all-time pay-per-view. Yeah. Like an absolute all-time pay-per-view. Obviously the biggest one in AEW history, and I know it's not a long history, but the biggest one in like, it feels like decades, right?
Yes.
Like maybe that is hyperbolic, but it really felt like a huge just momentum shift and just it was a historical and a landmark event. I mean, that closing angle, not even just the closing angle. Like, first off, every match on that card was good to great, and the one that wasn't good was 3 minutes long. So what are you gonna do with that? So every match, what was that?
Yeah, could have not booked it, right?
Yeah,
but I get you. I understand your point. Like, look, your point is, if the worst thing on a show is 3 minutes long, you've had one hell of a show. Is your point, right?
Right. So every match on that card was good to great, and then the closing angle with You know, I thought Omega and Christian was good. I kind of like the Rampage match better. Am I alone?
Yeah.
In that?
So this is going to sound weird, but I think you'll get what I mean. I think the work was more sort of ambitious and daring in the pay-per-view match, which makes sense. The atmosphere of the Rampage match made it one that will stick with me more.
Yeah.
On the pay-per-view, every circumstance was against it, in that no one thought Christian was going to win, which wasn't the case at Rampage because everyone knew Christian could win the TNA title. It was on after 3.5 hours of great professional wrestling, and moreover, everyone in the building at home was waiting for the closing angle.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. I thought they had a good match, but you could tell the people wasn't really fully biting on everything. So,
I mean,
I agree with your general point. I preferred Rampage too.
Yeah, I was being in the building for both of them. My attention was way more on the Rampage match than it was the All Out match. The All Out match, I was kind of in that, all right, when's this thing going to kind of like end? So we can get to, like Danielson was reported. We pretty much knew he was coming in at the closing angle unless plans changed, right? So we sort of knew he was there. Cole, we didn't know that was coming. We could speculate on everything. I would have been very adamant. I would like my credit that from the moment it said that his contract was up, I said he was gone. I said he was going to AEW.
I credit you for that, and I would like credit myself on Minoru Suzuki coming out after the match to shoot an angle.
Okay. See, that's why we're so good, Joseph.
Yeah, because we both win. You know, we both take victory laps. No, so I didn't get, and I'm alone on this apparently, but like when they did they're dead, I did not do the like, oh, obviously that's Adam Cole. Because like the overall promo Kenny was cutting was like the perfect setup and layup for Daniel, right? For Brian. Right. So everyone in the audience is they start doing the yes, and it's like, this is easy stuff. Brian's going to come out. What a great pay-per-view. Brother, like they did the lights out and then they took the shot of the ramp and like the stage and it flashed up Adam Cole's graphic.
Yeah.
You know I'm not a big Adam Cole guy, right? But like that 2 seconds is like peak. Like if you can bottle that energy, like everyone just immediately being like, oh my God, it's Adam Cole, you know, and then it is. That was electric. And I think every fan in the building, at home, all the above, was like, wait, is this the big surprise? Is Brian not going to be here? And then as soon as Cole turned heel, it was like, oh shit, they're going to do Brian as well. I mean, you talk about moments that kind of encapsulate an era. The WrestleMania main eventer and NXT's top star of the last, I mean, arguably their top star ever, but definitely the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Both coming in one fell swoop in completely different circumstances. And then, Jeremy, both guys being like, yeah, WWE was cool. This is where I want to be right now.
And that's
telling in some way, right?
Yeah. So on the debuts, when Omega did the already deadline, and the lights went down. My reaction video is up on our Patreon, patreon.com/the distraction. You can hear me say, I think it's Cole. Like I'm pretty sure it's Cole. And it was Adam Cole. He comes out. And then like throughout the Cole stuff, I'm thinking, and again, you can hear me say, like, we're still getting Danielson. Like we're still, especially after Cole turned, it's like, oh yeah, we're definitely getting him now. But even as Cole made his way down to the ring, I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're still getting Danielson. Right. Like no offense to Adam Cole. You know, I'm a big Adam Cole Bebe fan. Like you deliver Adam Cole there, it's great. When the fans are expecting Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole is a little bit of a letdown. And so if you close with just Cole right there, it's still cool. It's still good. But again, when you're expecting Bryan Danielson, there's a drop there. So to go back to back like that, though, just complete Tony Khan lunacy.
Yeah.
Like,
especially because he did Ruby as the Joker. He did Suzuki. Like, it was, you could tell that it was basically him saying, if anyone has rolled the dice on this pay-per-view that hasn't before, which from what we can kind of gather, that is the case. There was a lot of new buyers.
Yeah.
It was very much a hard sell of like, you're never going to like regret this. You know, you're going to come back again. Even with all that being said, closing angle was iconic on arrival, just completely saying you'll remember. But my takeaway was still the Lucha Bros winning those tag titles in one of the more kind of gripping, enduring title matches in recent memory. I mean, when they won that, listen, pro wrestling, whatever your style of choice is, whatever flavor you prefer, to me, the biggest key is like if a babyface is going over, the biggest pop needs to be on the finish. And brother, you were there. That crowd exploded on the finish. Those tag titles felt like the biggest prizes in the world. Part of that is because of the booking beforehand. Part of that's because the Bucks are great champions. A big part of that is it really meant something to the Lucha Bros. And I mean, the visual of Penta were covered in blood, and you could see he was, tearing up, and he goes over to his family afterwards. Like, that was to be honest, that whole thing, that whole presentation is the one my mind has gone back to most, even more than the two mega debuts at the end, Ruby, all that great stuff. That was special, man. From the moment the Lucha Bros came out with their entrance to when they walked back, like, that felt like a truly significant moment. And that's the thing that AEW needs to continue to hang its hat on is it's awesome to have shocking surprises and big debuts, but the reason we really enjoy that promotion is we believe investment can be paid off. And Lucha Bros, I didn't think they were going to win the titles, and when they did, brother, I popped huge for that, and so did everyone in the building. That was an incredible match, right?
I knew it would be a great match. Like, you put
Right.
Lucha Bros, Young Bucks in a cage, it's going to be a great match, right? But, like, I wasn't big into the story going into the match. I was immediately in on the Lucha Bros entrance. That entrance live was spectacular.
It was cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, it was really, and we were right by the ramp, so like we had really good shots of it and everything. That entrance was like spectacular live. So they do that and everything, and then the match, like, it was just all action from the start. They were just you can call it a spot fest, whatever, but like it was just nonstop action with what they were doing. And yeah, by the end of it, and with the Lucha Bros winning, it was a big pop, because the Young Bucks, I mean, to their credit, throughout all of this, like, they've gotten themselves over as this like dastardly heel tag team where people wanted to see them finally get that comeuppance and get there. I think the Lucha Bros were the correct pick for it, given on the story. Maybe not. But by the end of that match, did I think the Lucha Bros were the correct pick?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. By like the middle of that match, did I think the Lucha Bros were the correct pick? Yes. I was like, you know what? If the Lucha Bros win this thing, I'm for it. Because they told it, between all the spots and everything, the story was still there.
Right. Yeah,
in
absolutely.
the match. And yeah, by the end of it, it's like, man, like you can't.
It would have been a mistake. In the end, it was clear they had to win. Like, the people were ready. And at one point you had the fuck the Young Bucks chants. I'm sorry for swearing, guys, but that was there. There was drama in that thing. To me, here's the deal with that stuff. I know people hate the kind of more, I don't know what use the word choreograph, but the kind of synchronized stuff, like the super kick spots, and like, you got to realize that the people that bought a ticket for the show and bought the pay-per-view, like, they did want the spectacle of those four guys in a cage. Like, so they did the right thing, I thought. But then about the midway point, it became a bloodbath, and Penta was leaking, and it was, drama, and he covered up. He took the bullet for Ray Phoenix at one point. I thought they married two ideologies kind of perfectly. I think the Bucks' versatility as champs is something really to behold. I mean, they've adapted to every opponent. They had a pretty traditional tag with Moxley and Kingston. Obviously, they do some extended tag stuff, and I get that's a gripe for some, but they can do the traditional tag. They can do the modern indie sprint deal. This was like a spectacle and a thriller, but also you had this kind of element of brutality and violence. It packed a hell of a punch. I mean, I don't know get carried away, but I think it's in the top 5 AEW matches I've seen. I mean, again, it's not an old promotion, but let's be real, the in-ring's pretty high quality. Like, to me, the only matches that I see on its level are the Bucks versus Hangman and Omega. Dustin and Cody, maybe? Like, I don't know, man. This was significant. This was very, very special. But everything on the show here, right? I mean, we were fighting about Miro and Kingston. My God, they killed it, man. And by the way, you guys enhanced that match. My God, was Eddie over in Chicago. Holy shit.
It was like him coming out first, too. Yeah. Like, the crowd was going to be fired up for this pay-per-view regardless. And then you bring out Eddie first. It's like, oh, yeah. Like, what's the old saying? Like, you want to be the first match or the last match? Yeah. And, like, putting those guys on first, I think was the right call. And, Eddie getting the first entrance of the night, he got a big pop. And then throughout the match, like, that was the match I was most looking forward to. That. And so I was very excited for it. And they delivered. They delivered the match that I expected them to deliver. And we got kind of the not so clean finish, which looks like they're going to set up a rematch, which I'm all about as well.
I do want to ask, this After Ash show is interesting, right? Because there's like 101 ideas that we all want on the show. Now, the elephant in the room with that show is they're taping Rampage the same night, right?
Yeah.
So, like, some stuff is going to be booked for After Ash, but will be taped. I'm really intrigued with that is because I have to be honest, Jeremy, I did not expect MJF and Brian Pillman Jr. to make the cut for After Ash. I didn't expect Cody and Malachi, but that makes sense. Like, that's a big match. I'm not going to dismiss that just because I don't really care about it. Like, it's a big match. I get it. Let's do some fantasy booking here. Do we think the main event of that show is the 8-man tag that they're kind of setting up with Brian, Jurassic Express, and Christian?
Yes.
Or are they going to go straight ahead with Brian O'Malley? It feels like the 8-man, right?
It feels like the 8-man. On the post show last night, we got a lot of super chats and a lot of comments of like they're gonna book like 15 matches for just Dynamite, and it's like I'm pretty sure they can't fit all of these matches on just Dynamite. I do think they will have a big episode of Rampage. You know, they put 3 matches on Rampage anyway. I do think they will have a big episode wrestling wise for that Rampage. My guesstimate on the card is Cody and Malachi, which is obviously announced, MJF and Pillman, which will probably be short, right? I don't feel like that's going to be.
Yeah, I think they want to feature Max in a win. And the chance to kind of do the Cincy deal with Pillman. You can kind of, you know, I assume that's what the deal is. But yeah, I agree. It's a 6, 7, 8 minute match, you know?
I think they're going to do Britt and Ruby on that card.
Agreed.
That might be a Rampage, but I think it'll be at Arthur Ashe regardless. Eddie and Miro, I think is happening. And then the 8-man, I think you work Santana and Ortiz onto the card as well. Maybe against FTR because they last night on Dynamite, they were still kind of hinting at possibly going at each other, and that might be a Rampage thing as well. But I think they're on the card wrestling regardless because you gotta have that New York pop.
Yes,
for those guys. That's kind of where I think the matches are going.
Our pal Kiwi here in the chat has Punk and Hobbs for Rampage. That was going to be my suggestion. So I get why people be like, oh, it's a tape match for Punk. But like, let's be honest, we all love Hobbs. No one's buying that Hobbs is beating Punk anyway. That's the one you do in a tape show. You know, like and then you can lead Rampage with Punk, main event it with a Proud and Powerful match perhaps. Like, that's what I would be looking probably to do. So, because then Dynamite would be, in my view, the 2 matches we've got, King and Miro, Britt and Ruby, I agree, and then the 8-man.
Yeah.
And then after that, you take Punk, Proud and Powerful, women's match in the middle for Rampage. That's where I think they're going. I would like them to avoid having title matches on Rampage because it ain't actually a big deal if you look at like the history of TV viewership, but it's just a pain in the ass to try and avoid that stuff, right? Like the idea of Kingston winning the TNT title on a tape show is just like, it's kind of lame, right?
I think that's the biggest thing. Quickly, since JJ mentions Punk and Team Taz. One of my favorite big stars, Hook Day as well. CM Punk feuding with Team Taz. Chat myself. Please clean yourself up. Give me Hook. Thank you for all the hard. We're just hard. Love you both. Thanks, JJ. What was I saying? Yes, tape show. JJ threw me off with the hard. I only get hard for 2 things, JJ. That's my flexible girlfriend and Eddie Kingston talk. See what I did there? Joseph?
I definitely saw it. Yeah, it was good.
I wouldn't do a title change on a tape show. I wouldn't do it. If you want to do a title match on Rampage, but it's live, and you want to do a title change there, that's fine. But I'm not doing a title change on a tape show. It doesn't devalue anything, and obviously, you know, people make big deals about spoilers and everything, but like, you want that live like reaction from at home too. You don't want people watching at home and be like, okay, I know what's going to happen here.
No, absolutely, I agree. I mean, again, it's not something that I think's as big a problem as we probably think in our bubble.
Yeah.
But it would be a bummer for me personally. Now, I guess this is something that's been interesting me the last couple of days. I personally think they're putting the belt on Kingston, okay? Especially in New York. Who is the heel you choose to take it from Kingston? And because this is the thing, is I've spoken about before, like the heel side isn't quite as strong. Adam Cole is a huge addition in that side, though. He's got him a lot closer. I'd imagine King would have that belt for 5-6 weeks, maybe to Full Gear. I'm fascinated by which heel you choose to get that heat of beating Eddie, because Eddie's beloved. Is it a Hobbs? Does MJF get the TNT deal when you try and use him more in ring? I mean, the Pillman match kind of sets the tone for that. MJF, I'm torn on as TNT champ. For some reason, it doesn't feel like a right fit to me, but I could also be sold on it. Reese says Adam Cole. I like that. I don't know if he needs it, but then that doesn't necessarily make it wrong either. I don't know, Jeremy, where are you at on that whole deal? If we look ahead here and consider, Andrade's a good one from Frank. We look ahead and consider that Kingston's winning the TNT title. We assume, we don't know. Who is the heel to take it from him? Malachi's coming up. I like that one too. What are you thinking, Jeremy?
Malachi makes sense. I mean, Andrade apparently he has this banger match with Pac on Rampage, so hopefully that gets him to where we think he should be. I don't think Eddie needs a long run, right? Like that's the thing. Eddie,
very much so, yeah.
Eddie doesn't need the title. Adam Cole is the one that I kind of go to here, and he doesn't necessarily need it, but you just immediately establish him with that title. We know the TNT title is a big deal, right? Yes. Like they presented that on a level of the world title. So you put that belt on Cole. You just have him go out there and just have some really good matches. Joseph, you're not going to want to hear me say this. I don't think he's the guy to beat Eddie, but Cody's going to be in that picture soon enough.
Code man?
He's gonna be back in that picture. He's going to be back in that picture.
Circling back to that. I'm that match is a big one that I don't think their crowds would reject it, but I could see a New York crowd being like, "Oh, this is bullshit." If he beats Malachi, now again, I don't know. People get very carried away with that stuff. They might be into Cody. He's been away for a month now, 2 months by the time that match happens. But I definitely see that being a somewhat dangerous situation, to be honest with you. Where Cody fits in AEW in general at this point, and I think Jericho's in a similar position.
Yeah.
They were arguably the top two guys when they hit TV, them, Moxley and Kenny, I guess, right? They were the initial world title program, right? After Jericho won the belt, it was them two.
Yeah.
And at this point, I honestly don't know where those guys fit. And I think one of the biggest challenges for them will be kind of using those guys as top baby faces without taking the shine off of let's be real, the more kind of exciting, fresh names. And then there's other challenges like PW Outsider says Sammy. Sammy Guevara needs something too. He's kind of floating around. It felt like he was going to take the mantle from Jericho and kind of be the face of the Inner Circle. And then Jericho wrestled 6 times in 2 months, and that slowed that down. He never got his win over MJF, and I don't think that's ever happened, and that's fine. But he needs something. There's a lot of pieces to fit in, but the babyface side especially is definitely crowded. You can feel it. When Sammy comes out to do the ad break deal, it's oh shit, Sammy Guevara. He needs something too. So
do we think MJF gets the title from Eddie? Because I don't know MJF is gonna we assume beat Pillman, and then he's gonna need something to do. Right now the world title picture is pretty crowded with the elite guys and Danielson coming in and everything. It seems like MJF and Eddie, pretty easy program to do. They're doing the Long Island show in December. That's actually kind of a homecoming for MJF.
Yes.
We've seen the kind of tease with Wardlow as well. Do they do sort of MJF gets the belt and then Wardlow pretty much does the Batista Triple H kind of turn on MJF?
I don't mind it. I am somewhat intrigued by the idea of using that belt to allow MJF to kind of prove himself as a main event wrestler. I think MJF is underrated as a belt guy, but he has legitimately wrestled 4 matches this year in singles matches. So, and the Jericho match was good. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I do like the idea of MJF wrestling once every couple of weeks on TV in main event matches for the TNT title. Wardlow's interesting in that he's a guy we all like the idea of. I just don't know. I don't know quite where he fits in an AEW main event scene.
Right.
There's a lot to like about Wardlow, but once you split him off and he's on his own, it's I don't quite know where you would position him. He's not a guy they would look to kind of use in major main events at this point, I don't think. But at the same time, it's like, how long can you kind of can you tease it? Hobbs is interesting in that sense too, where I love Hobbs. I think everyone likes Hobbs and what he can be. But with the bigger guys that are more kind of Archer fit a similar bill, you can really have them squash dudes, right, and kill them. But AEW is a promotion that I think is going to hang the hat on the idea that every top guy can have these 20-minute main event matches. I think Hobbs can get there. I think Wardlow can get there. I don't think they're there now, though.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is what the delay is with Wardlow. I thought it was great. I mean, I didn't particularly love that segment last night, but I did love the Wardlow element of it, where he was standing there like, I should just let this dude get his ass kicked, right? And he always eventually just goes back and does what he thinks is right. But yeah, I think MJF is someone that we've all penciled in for a world title reign in the next couple of years. However, with so many moving pieces and all guys coming out in and out, I do think the TNT title could be a good call. And him and Kingston is, my God, pal. I mean, there's something to that, right? Two New York guys that represent like completely different sides of that coin. The promos would be great. I think the matches would be an easy fit. I think MJF would gel very nicely with Eddie. Yeah, I'm just saying to that for sure. Malachi, I don't know.
This feud, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure he's going to be Cody in a couple of weeks. I don't know if Cody's going to drop 2 straight like that, and maybe he will. And credit to him if he puts him over again. But like the Cody angle was great to close that show. The follow up, complete miss with me. Complete miss.
I don't dislike it as much as you do. It's a little bit kind of meandering for me. There was elements to the Dustin match I liked. Obviously, the finish got blown. I think he's going too long with Dustin and Lee Johnson. I think he should,
Yeah.
I don't like the way that he's kind of lost. I liked how decisive and emphatic the Cody win was. And I think that's somewhat been lessened by like him just wrestling more like a normal professional wrestler. Now, he's still killing these guys, but it isn't quite the same. I think Malachi is going to get some backup soon.
But Matt?
Not doing the bit. I'm going to just say, I think he's getting some backup soon. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the finish to the Arthur Ashe match.
Okay.
So, and then whether that makes it better or worse, I don't know. However, Malachi Black and the aforementioned Australian gentleman that you just named, I will not say the name of, versus the Lucha Bros for the AEW World Tag Team titles at Full Gear, a show that I no longer will be attending. Could be pretty fucking awesome. Yeah, it could be pretty awesome. So, the tag stuff, I've spoke about this, and I am the confirmed shoot on the Patreon show, which you should all subscribe. It's actually good, I promise. We're like sold on them having TNT tag titles, and like I unironically think this is a good idea. Like I think there's so many factions, trios or that.
Trios, yeah,
probably not. I mean, honestly, Jeremy, I probably just do both and say fuck it. All out, we're running the Impact Zone. Who cares, right? Let's just have 15 titles. And I get why people think it's a bad idea. I completely do, but like, it's just. I'll say this much, okay? I liked Dynamite last night. However, I have enjoyed Dynamite less on average since Rampage arrived.
Yeah.
I do not think that is because they're spreading themselves too thin. I just think there's like a general lack of quality control that they could do better. And I'm going to be full disclosure on this. I think last night's TV was good. My standards for their TV have got like somewhat, I'm going to be honest, you may be unfair. They're very high, okay? I'm sorry, Jeremy, but I look at that crew on paper and it's like, there's still shit on that show that I just don't think should be on TV. And like, that doesn't have to be the case when you have as many wrestlers as we're talking about right now. So, and again, full disclosure, good show. I'm not saying it was bad by any means. The only one I would say was even close to bad was the one that we all lost our minds over with Brock Anderson. But I do think they're still, like that first month back on the road, they really was on a hot streak. And I think recently they've been warm. They can do better, man. Like this roster's incredible. I think there's still a level to go up. But sorry, Jeremy, what was you going to say?
I feel the same way. Dynamite was it was a 4-hour drive for me last night. I could have made that. And coming out of All Out, like it would have been, completely reasonable to be like, yeah, I want to see this the first Dynamite after All Out. I want to see what's going to happen here. Decided not to. And as things progressed throughout the day, you know, Sean was there, Shoot was there, and they were talking about how excited they were and everything. I was like, man, I had big FOMO of like, oh man, something big's going to happen on this show. And like, I'm going to miss it. And by the end of it, I was just like, I'm glad I didn't make that trip. Like, not that it was a bad show.
No, it wasn't. It was a good TV show. It just didn't feel, I don't know. But in fairness, Jeremy, I saw a lot of people say the opposite. Like, I saw people that I've completely respected the opinion of saying it was one of the best Dynamites ever. I didn't get that vibe from it. It didn't quite click for me that way. But again, and this is not me doing like, you know, the bootlicker shit, but like, they have, their standards are higher, man. Like and it's at a point where it's little things I'll be like, oh man, they could have done it better. And it's again, like, it was a good show. I think this build is so interesting because they legit have like 8 weeks. Full Gear is around the corner. And Rampage obviously helps with that. So that's going to be something to watch. They need to go quicker than usual, you know?
They need to build though. I don't wait, you know.
Right.
One of the issues I've always had with AEW is sometimes their pay-per-views, it's just like it's thrown together in the last couple of weeks. It's like, wait, you've been building to this for weeks, and then in the final couple of weeks, you've put this on the show. Like, what are we doing here?
It's hard. I agree, but I have to like lessen my, like, I'm trying to reframe how I think about that shit, you know? And when the people are saying to Lucha Bros Bucks, and I didn't really see like any build on TV for it, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm too used to one style of build. If that makes any sense. Like, they obviously do it differently, right?
You can't do that like all across the card with these title matches because I mean, Omega and Christian did have a longer build, but they also did a match on free television. So that kind of hurt things a little bit. Yeah, Bucks and Lucha Bros was sort of, the story was more just about the Bucks than it was the Lucha Bros. The TNT title match, again, love Eddie, love Miro, that came together in the final 2 weeks there. They didn't really cross paths until then. But maybe this is on us, and this is just kind of how you do things. They sort of separate each from each other for weeks, and then it's like, okay, well, this match makes sense, even if they haven't had a ton of interaction. This match still makes sense. Let's book this match. I would just like to see a little bit more meat on some of these pay-per-view matches.
No, I get it. I don't know. I don't know if this is the right attitude to have, but like my take a couple of weeks back was I'm intrigued to see how over these matches are. And like, people can say, well, AEW crowds are just generous and they cheer everything, but it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, people were living and dying on the Kingston and Miro near falls. They were going crazy for Lucha. Like, I just think they do it differently and they sell matches rather than like conflicts. And I don't know if that's something that you prefer necessarily. But it is interesting. Like, it's hard for me to be like objectively saying it was wrong because every match really had heat. You know? So I don't know, but I get your point for sure.
Joseph,
again, go ahead.
How upset? I mean, I was going to move on to a different thing.
Okay, all I was going to say was it is legitimately worth just reiterating one last time. I am not under any illusions that Dynamite wasn't good. It was good. Yeah. The only issue I had objectively is the pace, the timing and pacing was all fucked up, right? And everyone I think would agree with that. That's what it is. But like, it was a good show. I'm just saying, like, they're capable of even better, which is is a compliment. Like, trust me, I'm not saying it was disappointing by any means, but they just have so much stuff going on sometimes, and it's like little quality control, I think, could be scattered across this deal, but we shall see. Definitely a good show, no doubt. What was you going to say? Sorry.
Because of how upset we talked about people who are going to take the title from Eddie Kingston. How upset are you going to be when it's the Fiend Bray Wyatt?
I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't worry about that at all. That'd be quite the match. Eddie can do some pretty impressive things now. I don't know about that one. That could be a step far. I don't know. So is that you want to transition to like the big free agent stuff, right? Is that what you're doing here?
Let me do some super chats right fast. Throwback says, excited to find out who won the prediction match. Not me. Definitely not me. Manuel Rosales says, Jeremy, I know on the post show you said you didn't like Cole leaving the ring when Omega said to leave, but if you look, he was staring down Omega, Brian, plus he was given the last one to get in the ring to help. Yeah, and I think that Cole eventually, maybe even very quickly, splits from that. I think Cole is a bigger deal than that group. I don't think he could be playing second fiddle to Kenny Omega.
I don't know. Kenny Omega's a big deal.
He is, but Cole is over, dude. Like, I feel like you're in the minority when it comes to Cole. It's not a bad thing or anything. I just think you're in the minority when it comes
Kenny
to
Omega is objectively a bigger deal than Adam Cole. Like, Kenny Omega is brother.
No,
he won the PWI 500 yesterday.
Where the fuck was Adam Cole ranked?
I don't have a problem with him being second. Like, look, here's the deal. When they do promo segments, he's not going to be feeling like second fiddle. Now, that was a one-off situation because they wanted to have Kenny and Bryan go head-to-head.
Yeah.
Adam Cole is awesome. He gets over. He's confident and charismatic. And he gets it. He hasn't got the big match feel of a Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega can stand opposite Bryan Danielson, and it's like, Jesus, man, that's huge, you know? I don't think Adam Cole has matches like that, personally.
Well, that's because he's wrestling in front of 100 people the last 4 years. That's not his fault.
But that's why he has to come in as the second. You know, the elite is the elite are polarizing, perhaps, and, you know, divisive and controversial. But like, they've done a fabulous job for this last 6 months, a year, whatever it's been. Omega he has a real case of being like the top wrestler in the world. Adam Cole doesn't. Not 100%. Yet. So I think you got to give it some time first.
I think Omega is on a different level than Cole right now. I think that Cole can get there, and I do think he is a bigger deal than – is he at Omega level? Maybe not quite yet, especially in the AEW universe, but I think Cole can get there, and I don't know if he's playing second fiddle for long to Kenny Omega. I really don't. And I don't think he should either. I really don't think he should.
Your take is basically, if you could pick between them, you would pick Cole because like you think Cole would be a bigger deal with some time, right? And I don't disagree with that, right? That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah. But
like NXT top guy is cool. Kenny Omega has been the top guy in AEW for a year.
Yes.
I think, and look, again, I don't think you're wrong in terms of like long term, but I also think they're going to get there. Like, and maybe this is the perfect transition to the guy that may or may not be available in about 4 months. I think there's a lot of story, different things you can do story wise with the elite because I think Kenny's dropping that belt in November, and then naturally you're going to pivot some way. So, and that's where Cole can perhaps become the leader.
I think that he can become the leader of potentially Hangman winning that belt. And then Cole getting the belt from Hangman. Because we both kind of agree that Hangman might be like their first kind of short champion. They've done 3 very long reigns. And it seems like if they're going to do kind of a transitional guy, Hangman would be the guy who just has it for one pay-per-view cycle.
I don't know how I feel about that being Cole.
Why do you hate Adam Cole?
I just don't know how I feel about him being the world champion like 5 months in AEW. I don't know about that. Like, I think you're underestimating the star gravitas of like a CM Punk, the Ultimate Fighting champion, Phil Brooks, or Bryan Danielson. Like, I would definitely be looking more in their direction if I'm going to beat Hangman. Then, this is just me, okay? If Page wins the belt in November and he's dropping it quick in like January, February, I'm looking at Punk in a heel turn. I'm looking at Bryan in a heel turn. I'm looking at Miro. I'm looking at MJF. I'm not going straight to Cole. And again, this is not me even pretending Cole sucked. Like, I'm actually not doing that bit. Cole was very good. I'm not, but like, I'm not rushing to make him the world champion. It's an all-star roster, brother. Take your time. Take it easy, Jeremy.
Do it with me, Joseph. Ready?
Okay.
Ready?
What am I doing?
The Adam Cole baby. Music and salsa's out there. Ready? Adam Cole, baby.
Baby.
There we go. You froze, so nobody actually saw it.
The chat's about Miro. I think Miro would be, because if Miro's dropping the TNT title, like, you've got to immediately get him ready for being world title programs.
I'm very high on Miro. I'm not discounting a Punk or a Danielson. Come on now.
They're pretty big deals.
Yeah, I literally said they gave Adam Cole, and fans would have been disappointed because they were expecting
Danielson. I think Punk like turning heel on Hangman is so good. So good. Like him being friendly Phil that loves the promotion for 6 months, getting himself a babyface match with Adam Hangman Page, and then just being like, just dick kicking him and stealing the belt. He would be great with that. You know, like he took advantage of the drunk cowboy. He would. I just think there's only so many years you're gonna have a Punk at this level to me. And Brian is similar. I don't know how long his deal is, but like Cole is a long-term signing, right? How old's Adam Cole? 31, 32? I'm not rushing on that deal for sure. But anyway, there's other news. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Well, more super chats. Frank Aguilar says, I said it on Patreon, but as Latino, it's touching to see the Lucha Brothers presentation when Vince McMahon put 3 of the greatest luchadors on the tractor. That entrance live, it was fantastic.
They don't get enough credit for how cool they are.
They don't.
You know? They're like legitimately kind of transcendent. Like if you watch the Lucha Bros with people that are not wrestling fans, they all think they're completely just awesome. Yes. Did I freeze?
No. Music Moonsall says, "How dare you, Joseph?" I don't know what that was.
What did I do?
But I don't know.
What is Brian Cage doing? Why is everyone texting me about Brian Cage?
Oh no.
Sorry to hear that.
Wild Boy, our buddy Wild Boy says, "Love you, dudes. Have a great show." Thanks, buddy. Hope you're doing well, Wild Boy.
I don't know if we're having a great show, but I appreciate the thought that we could have one.
Wow.
It's hard, man. Sometimes you get in rhythm on these deals. I'm doing 5 hours a day, and I come out of rhythm, and it's like I'm just getting the feel for the game. Defensive side of the ball is harder. There's some discussion about Brian Cage's booking, apparently. Okay. That's fine, whatever. Yes,
right,
the big topic, the title of the video.
Yeah. So, Fightful Select, Sean Ross Sapp reported that Cage's wife posted a video saying he's just not being used that well.
Sorry to hear that.
Go. Yeah. They ain't going to miss Brian Cage. Even though nobody's better than him, or that bit, even though nobody's better than him, they ain't missing Brian Cage. Fightful Select reported that Owens' contract is up in January. Joseph, a lot of teases with Mount Rushmore, Young Bucks, all this fun stuff. It would be kind of shocking if he didn't leave at this point, right? Like, I'm not crazy for thinking that.
It kind of feels that way, Jeremy. Yes, it feels like the way that this story is kind of slowly unfolded, and it went from he tweeted something, and then it hit the great Fightful Select, of course, and it sure feels like he intends to leave, right? Hard to read his mind, but reading what we have got to look at, obviously there is time for them to convince him with many great storylines with Logan Paul and other things such as that. Now, where does one fit Kevin Steen into the All Elite fleet? How does this impact Adam Cole? Did he actually do the Mount Rushmore deal, which could be tremendous TV? I'm tempted by that, but I'm even more tempted by, Steen is a top babyface in a promotion that doesn't actively chop his dick off every week. He could be huge. But again, as I say on every show, they've got enough babyfaces. But you can't. It's very hard to bring in Kevin and do the same thing you do with Adam Cole. Where it's like Swerve, he's a heel. It's like people love Kevin Owens, So it's certainly fascinating. I don't want to get ahead of myself because he's still there for another 4 months, but it's wild that every wrestler that kind of feels like an outsider from within, guys that they never truly appreciate fully, even though they know Kevin Owens is great, right? It's not pretend WWE think he sucks. They know he's great, but they just don't. They're never going to see him as the guy. All of those dudes that feel like they're fighting uphill are more and more Brian and Punk are the most obvious examples. You had Kevin's that he's the latest. He's crazy. I mean, I get why people are concerned about bloat on the roster and stuff like that, but we just mentioned the guy a minute ago. Just he doesn't have to be on TV if you have talent this good. This roster, without Kevin Steen, is legitimately the greatest non-WWE roster since late 90s WCW. Mm. And even that, honestly, this may be a bit crazy, but I'm gonna be honest. You could argue that with me because we all love WCW, but man, them NWO era main events sucked, dude. They were not good wrestling matches.
No.
So star power, maybe not, but in terms of just talent top to bottom, my God. I think anyone with any kind of wrestling mind is like, it's one thing to worry about bloat. For other guys, you don't do it with Kevin. You make space for a wrestler that great, that versatile, that good of a personality, that popular. I mean, he's a beloved professional wrestler. He would fit right in, right? Fair to say.
People in chat have said Owens with 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. That adds that veteran presence to that group that they might need to really, because right now they're just getting their asses kicked every week. Like they're on television, they're feuding with the top guys, but they're also getting their asses kicked every week. I'd imagine that in 3-4 months here, they can build them up a little bit. You bring in Owens, add him to that group. That's now a very formidable group that you have there. You can do a Mount Rushmore turn of where Omega becomes the babyface. They turn on him and basically kick him out, and so you make Omega the babyface by default there, and that's the top heel faction in the company. I think Owens, and this was going to be my point on like Punk and Danielson. These are guys that like don't necessarily need the belt. And I know like we all want to like fantasy book them and like, oh yeah, like they're gonna have a run with the belt at some point. They're too good. They're too big of names and everything. I can see a world where CM Punk just like never holds that title.
No,
I can honestly see it. Like he doesn't need it at all. And they can do TNT title runs because again, they've established that as a big title, and they've established that as more of a wrestling title than the world title. You put that thing on Danielson, just have him go out there and wrestle every week. That's his wheelhouse. He doesn't need the world title in that case. And that's why my mind did go to Cole to take it off of Hangman, because I think that's a guy who could use the belt more than those guys to feel like a bigger deal that I would elevate him as.
So,
and I think Owens is kind of in that same position where he doesn't necessarily need that belt to feel like
yes. He just needs to be treated with some respect and not get the shit kicked out of him every week and be made to like an idiot on television.
Yes.
Like, we don't even have to beat around the bush with that. We know the deal with Kevin, right? Like, Owens is a guy who, whenever he gets anything to sink his teeth into, it gets over and it's good. And inevitably, they kind of make a fool of him, and it is fine. Whatever. We know the situation with that. Now, I'm intrigued by this idea about the title thing, and I agree with it. However, I do draw a line between Punk and Bryan for this reason, and I could be alone on this, full disclosure. I don't think Bryan's going to win the AEW title because I think Bryan wants to come and wrestle guys and just like pop himself. I think he wants to do weird matches.
People's head in.
Yes, of course. That's what I hear. Now, I think Punk should win the title because I still think if you look at the reactions of Punk's return, I think there is a star potential in Punk that, as weird as it sounds, I still don't think has been fully capitalized on. And the fact that he was gone for 7 years and people reacted like that, I think says a lot. He's a guy who's in his early 40s who has wrestled one match in the last 7 years. But the reaction tells me that, like, he can unlock a level for them they just haven't quite gone through yet. I really do think this. Like, again, everyone knows this. I'm much more of a Bryan fan than Punk. I love the Bryan signing. But Bryan's going to come in and be, the greatest wrestler on a crew of great wrestlers. Punk's different, man. Like, Punk connects in a way, and because of the story of him being out, I think there's a lot to be said for him winning that belt. I really do. I don't think you're wrong, but like, I wouldn't discount Punk because I think Punk could be their absolute tippy top guy. And I know people would roll their eyes at it because he's an ex-WWE guy, but like, that isn't really the point of this, right? Like, it's not just popping yourself by making homegrown guys that aren't even homegrown to begin with. If you've got CM Punk and you're looking at the fact that he sold the most T-shirts in Pro Wrestling Tees history in 3 days, he made you millions of dollars in T-shirt revenue over a weekend. He sold 15,000 tickets on a rumor. Brother, I'm not like, I can't dismiss him from that scene. I just can't. But I don't know. Maybe I'm overstating Punk's kind of star ceiling. But I just think he got over in a way that like the place he was at didn't fully grasp, in my view. And it ain't 2012, it ain't 2011, but people still remember and they still care. I think I would be hesitant to make Punk just like an attraction rather than the guy in the promotion. That's just me personally.
I'm with you on that. I just don't know if that's, at least not right now, because right now, and I hope this Team Taz feud kind of changes things. Right now, he's just like happy-go-lucky Phil Brooks back in wrestling kind of guy. Right. And like this isn't a guy that I'm like, this is a guy I want to be a world champion right now. This is a guy who just like does feel like an attraction. And once he flips that switch, maybe he needs the heel turn for Hangman. Yeah. Maybe that's what it takes. Once he flips that switch of like wrestler CM Punk again, and not just like I'm back type of guy, like then that's when I'll be like, all right, yeah, this guy's the hottest thing in the company. Put the title on him. Right now, I just don't see it because again, he feels like an attraction because he's almost acting like an attraction, even though he's there every single week and stuff. But like, he's just Phil Brooks to me right now.
Okay, so here's the deal. I think you're right. If they made the decision of we would rather have Punk beat Kenny than Hangman, I would disagree with that. I agree that babyface Punk is not interesting enough, frankly, to do that. My kind of it would have to be execution related for sure. Like I love the idea of him turning on Hangman. I think he could do a great job with that. But you could even do like there is a great story to be told of just babyface Punk after 7-8 years away from being world champion, re-winning the big one in a sports-based promotion. And I know everyone hates that, but like they do make the belts matter in AEW, and like they could tell a great story of him trying to win the big one again. I agree he needs to get his edge back. I think Taz is going to fix that. Last night's segment, I think, had a lot of promise, encouraging signs, just a little rough around the edges for reasons that, I think they were pretty obvious. They just got their wires crossed a little bit. But I think he'll get there. I mean, the thing for them, and this is a real balance and it's hard to strike, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. Using Punk to give a rub to the young guys without making Punk feel like just another guy on the roster is their challenge. So basically what I'm saying is I love him wrestling Ricky. I love him wrestling Hobbs. I don't want him wrestling like just any old dude on AEW's roster. And I'm not going to name anyone because like there's no need to, but like people know what I'm talking about. There still should be like a level to what Punk's operating at. Darby's cool with it, Starks, Hobbs, all of the above. But that's one thing to watch for sure. My God, the viewership is coming in here.
Yeah, it's 1.3 million, the second highest average in the history of the show.
And I think for the new viewers or those that are just watching live rather than DVR, which I think a lot of it is, frankly, but whatever. I think they would have enjoyed the show, man. It was exciting. It never froze, it never slowed down. It was really good. When I say that I didn't love it, it's because like I know Dynamite can be better than that. I think they had a good show. This certainly wasn't a Brock Anderson situation where it felt like they kind of kicked one. I think new viewers would have really enjoyed that show. So that's good. But yes, CM Punk.
Christian Knight says, I think AEW can run a Punk helping Hangman get over the hump by helping him become sober, get over the hump and win the title. Then Punk turns. Right.
That's the kind of, Punk is so, when he becomes a villain, he's so damn vindictive. He can just be awful. And Hangman is beloved. And like I've seen the Bucks get heat from that crowd. Punk can do it easily. I do think there's something to that. Now, in the same way, do not be surprised if Brian wants to turn heel too eventually, because I think a lot of the matches he wants to do are baby faces. And while Brian would pop for like a babyface match with Jungle Boy, he would love to be a real dick and get some heat on those guys too. So, that will be the thing to see is which of those two guys turns first. But as a fan, I've said it for the longest, I'm sticking to Punk. I think Punk being friendly Phil that loves the promotion, is happy all the time, and then just kicking Hangman in the dick and turning on him, I think it's perfect. I love that as a direction. So that's where I think I'm going right now, currently. But we need to get Hangman back first, man. I'm excited to just see the reaction he gets. That's going to be tremendous.
We do. When is the Norfolk show? I actually think he comes back this week in the Rochester show. Unless the Norfolk shows it just in a couple of weeks. But, they got to do Arthur Ashe first. Maybe he comes back at Arthur Ashe. Is there a possibility that, he comes and that's the closing?
Yes.
Maybe Luchasaurus gets, taken out, and then Hangman is added to that match. Luchasaurus is that guy in that match, he just don't fit, right? Like,
yeah, I get that, but that probably means he's the one that's getting pinned. No,
True.
I don't think so. I think Brian would actually, because Cole's got a match next week, so he'll get a win there. Brian probably will get the win in that 8-man actually over one of the Bucks. So
yeah,
maybe, yeah, the Power JR, familiar chat name, but a shoot friend of mine suggested similar last night. I don't mind it. I think I would probably just have the match and then an angle where Hangman makes the return. And you go off the air with all those baby faces with a returning Hangman, big pop. Because I don't think, like I suggested someone else's debut, but that wouldn't be like a huge deal. Hangman returning would be a nice way to give Arthur Ashe a huge angle. So, yeah, there's definitely, that feels in play to me, honestly. Because Arthur Ashe is a lot closer than people seem to realize.
they have one more show. I mean,
Yeah,
they have 3 more technically, but they have one more Dynamite.
I saw people last night being like, I still think it's Hangman and Omega at Arthur Ashe. And I'm just like, they have like 2 TVs,
Yeah.
I don't think that's where they're going, but I would like Hangman to come back there and close the show, standing alongside Brian, Christian, Jurassic. That'd be a great moment. Speaking of great moments, it's the hour mark, Jeremy.
Well, first, Ryan Sullivan says, sorry if this was addressed, but got work on the way. Any discussion of Jeremy needing a new finisher? I retired the V-trigger, Joseph. I permanently damaged John Alba's voice with it. And so,
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So I need a new finisher. It's hurting people. I can't, it's fun. I like doing it. Look at O'Neal. Just like stretching.
Getting ready like he's doing like a sprint or something.
I always love when he's stretching. I just pop him on screen. I can't be hurting people with it. Pounce. No, I'm not big enough to do the pounce. Sorry. I don't know. Throw some finishers at me and I'll use it.
That's all interesting. Right. Can you teach Mox how to do his finish again? Because he seems to have forgotten.
Here we go, Joseph.
History title.
Robert O'Neal's here. How you doing, Robert O'Neal?
What's up, guys? How's it going? It's been a minute since I talked to both of you. I'm going to talk to Joseph, 10 hours a week now on distraction or patreon.com/distraction.
Get the plug right.
Have you noticed the shirt that Bob's wearing?
I have. Very good.
But yeah, Jeremy, how you doing, man? Been a minute.
I'm well. You DM'd me the other day. We actually had a friendly sort of DM discussion. Usually I yell at you.
We did. That was good.
Do you know what you're doing today, O'Neal?
I do. I had a really dumb, most of this segment, not the show, the segment.
Yes, no.
The segment is mostly dumb bits, but I had a dumb bit planned. Can't do it yet just because it's just not, we'll push it off a couple weeks. But you gave me another idea, and we're going to run with that one, which throughout the course of this show, it's actually gotten even better than I thought it would be originally. So,
good.
Yeah.
I was hoping, when I suggested it to you, I was hoping that you would you'd see it and things would make sense there, O'Neal. So I'm glad it worked out. All right, here we go, O'Neal. 3 minutes on the clock after the intro. Here we go.
History title.
Yeah, so inspired by Eddie Kingston, friend of the show on Dynamite last night, I'm gonna address my enemies today. Oh, Joseph, happy birthday, by the way. Didn't get to say that.
No, you didn't say that ever. You never said that to me, Bob. Good job.
So yeah, a couple things before I get into the big one. 2 weeks ago when I did this show last, I thought I did a really good job with saying just be nice to people. And in the course of me doing that, I actually went back and read the comments. Someone called this the worst 3 minutes on the internet, which, that's really mean. Don't do that. So you're one of my enemies. I don't even remember who it was. Number 2 on my enemies list at the moment is Tony Khan for moving Full Gear. Was really excited to see everyone and, really the crowd, especially after you watch All Out and, just watch Dynamite every week. Just the crowds, there's something special to be part of, man. It's a bummer that that's going to get put off, but, And then number 3, I got to go with, Jeremy, Sean, John Alba, and Connor at this point because, I'm just hanging out. What was that, Friday night? Saturday night? Whatever night.
Saturday night.
Yeah. Just hanging out, having a good time. And I get a video from Jeremy tweeted at me. Everyone's telling me to go fuck myself. And, that wasn't cool. But I thought that was it. Then you tweeted it at me again. First of all, like 100 people liked it. So, I mean, I'm not cool with that either. But, yeah. And then, you tweeted at me again the other day, which that was fair. And then, today I'm just sitting here. First of all, I watched a little bit of your stream yesterday. Connor's like, oh, the next day I felt bad about it. So then I come and I watch a cold open today and you guys just do it again. So, I mean, what's the deal, man? Like, you want to get your crew and I'll get my crew and we'll rumble?
Who the fuck is Bob's crew?
I mean, it's you and
it's me.
Yeah, you and Shoot and Oracle against those four. So
I thought it was other people that don't like either of us.
Yeah, no, I don't trust any of them. I don't trust most of you either. But I had to come up with 3 other people to.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Bob. Like, I think the 4 of us, you, myself, Shoot, and Oracle, will be the worst 4 men to fight any fight ever. I really believe that.
No, we would not do well.
No, your knees, Bob. Talk about your knees. Is that one of your enemies? Your knees?
No, my knees are good today. My ankle hurts. I don't. Not ideal.
You gotta support your knees.
That's a good point.
Is God one of your enemies?
No, God's cool.
God's cool.
Do you remember that? That was Kingston's first enemy.
I
man
do.
Upstairs, yeah.
That was great, man. I tweeted yesterday like I'm excited for Dynamite. People got real mad at me.
Dude, listen. You've made friends with a lot of dogs. Don't worry about it. You're winning that, Bob. You're gonna win, Bob. Don't worry about it.
Hell yeah.
Mystery title. Bang!
Bob did the Orange Cassidy deal. I don't think he meant to, but it was very half-hearted. How great was it when Orange got fired up by the way at Chris? When he, how cool was that moment? That was great stuff. By the way, Jeremy, we actually should talk about this briefly. We talked about all that in pretty good detail. Dude, Ruby Soho getting that reaction.
Yeah.
What a great moment in the business that was. Someone that really deserved it, deserved better for a long time. And that moment was like the industry giving her like a validation. It was very, very cool. That was actually one of the best moments of all that was Ruby's face when she walked out to that reaction with that music. And good for her. I'm actually really excited for her and Britt. I think she'll be very good.
I think it'll be good too. I thought that match last night a little rough. She looked like she's had some ring rust. She looked like she had been in catering for 4 months. That's why, yeah. But I think once they get going and everything, and Ruby, she got some reps last night. She had the trios women's match. They did that last night too. I imagine she'll wrestle again this upcoming week on whether it be Dynamite or Rampage. So she'll get that. She'll be fine once they actually get to the Brit match and what we assume will be at Arthur Ashe. That was the biggest pop of the night from the girlfriend. She's like, I just want to hear the song. That song is so catchy. It's still stuck in my head. You want to sing it, Joseph?
Absolutely not.
Come on.
I'm not going to any. There's been enough singing on this show. More than enough
Joseph.
singing. Not happening.
Destination
Never happening.
unknown.
I like your middle ground
Soho.
between. I like your middle ground between just reading the lyrics and singing them.
Yeah.
But when this show started, you was like firmly in the middle, and then you like edged further and further towards singing. It's good shit. I like it. You have to like rev up the engine. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Do we have anything to talk about with the ratings? I mean, people want to talk. Like, we don't. It's cool, right? Good ratings.
We're not the guys to typically talk about ratings.
No,
it seems like they did
talk
good.
about our ratings. Our ratings are good right now.
Yeah, sorry to hear that.
I got speaking of such,
Okay.
I have something to promote.
Okay.
Next week will be the 16th of September. Correct, Jeremy? And your birthday is the 15th of September. Am I correct in everything I've said thus far?
Yes.
Next week, Jeremy Lambert, you will receive an extensive happy birthday message on this very show, The Distraction. I'll send you the video in time. You cannot watch it until you watch it live on the show. Okay?
Okay.
Early estimates, I do not believe it will run 16, 17 minutes long. However, it will be extensive. It will feature multiple guests. So there's a little bit of promotion for next week, guys. There's something to look for. Oh, how?
Very scared. I'm going to DM now all my sort of friends and be like, hey, what have you done? What has happened here?
Don't spoil it for yourself, Jeremy.
I'm not.
Yeah, it will not be Eddie Kingston.
Oh.
There's a spoiler, okay?
Did you spend $600 like I did?
Dude, you've got like sort of secondhand heat on Eddie for that. You know that, right? People really think you like went up to Ed and was like, here's the dollar, brother. How great would it be if you went up to Eddie Kingston and was like, hey man, you send a message to my friend and he was like, $600 or go fuck yourself.
Cody Wills said, late to the show today. Great show though. Fed dead. Let me tell this story. I was smashing the cold beers with Luther after All Out. Luther is coming for your job, JJ. Luther is going up to people and trying to book him on our show. I feel like he's trying to get us in trouble. He's like, have you met Jeremy? Like he does a podcast. You should be on his show. It's a great show. You should be on it. I'll tell you who we talked to off the air. But
oh my god,
just going up to
Scott D'Amore. It was Scott D'Amore. It was the machine gun, Carl Anderson.
He's going up to wrestlers and being like, you should be on his show. And I'm just like, oh man, we don't want to do interviews.
No.
I feel like AEW is gonna like message probably Sean, not me. Like, why are these guys being talked to about trying to be booked on the show after an event?
It sounds like tampering.
It's Luther.
It sounds like Luther is taking part in tampering at this point with his own peers and contracted talent. So that's not ideal, but you'll see what happens. This show is not for professional wrestlers to come on and promote their shit and work a character, right? Like there's some wrestlers that would love to come on and work heel on the distraction.
Yeah. And
we would rather have John Albert do that. Without naming any names. We're fine. Our viewership's fine. We have Bob O'Neill. That's all that matters to me.
That's all we need, right? Yeah, that's all we need. All right. Anything else, Joseph?
Yes.
Okay.
C-Show Wrestling is back in studios. WCW Worldwide lives. The funniest poster ever with Ed Kingston, Thunder Rose, just six wrestlers. Here they are. And I'm so fired up for Dark to be just bad wrestling, and I'm going to pop every time. Kingston's going to win the TNT title and walk out in the Universal Studios without any belt, and they'll be like, he's forgotten it, like they with Bobby Eaton back in the day on World Championship Wrestling. Glorious times are ahead. I really appreciate Tony Khan being a patron and listening to Fleet Week, where we asked for a studio show for about a month, and actually are going to get a studio show. Don't know how that happened or why that happened, but it rules. All how. There you go, Jeremy. All how.
You just promoted stuff. I mean, I thought you.
What do you mean?
That's
about the studio shows, brother.
Yeah.
Lee Moriarty being signed is a big deal. Lee Moriarty is like.
He's good.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's kind of a prodigy, man. I love Daniel Garcia. I like Yuta too. Like Lee's, I think ceiling wise is higher. And that's saying something because, again, I think those guys are great. And I'm not trying to compare him to be a dick. I'm just trying to gauge where I'm at on it. It's like Moriarty is a guy that I'm throwing in the deep end straight away the way they did with Garcia. So he's definitely a big signing, one to watch. He's someone I could see being a real staple initially of those shows we were just talking about, having 15-minute matches on those C shows for a while. He had a match with Janela that was, I think, 8 minutes, maybe a little bit less, on Dark last week or this week that was just tremendous. My God, a great, really good start. He's another one, man. The rich get richer, right? It's like they've got so many prospects, so many present stars, legends, veterans, all of the above. They've got them, and Leo Rush apparently is talking to Tony Khan again too. So there you go. A lot going on.
Yes. Yeah, Leo Rush. I really like Leo. He's a little too young to be doing the Terry Funk retirement angles this soft.
I can't comment on that. I retire every month, so I can't say shit.
All right. Do you want to plug anything, Joseph?
Do I want to plug anything?
Yeah.
Does Joe Hulbert want to plug anything on this week of all weeks? You can follow Lufa at Kill Lufa Kill. I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. You can go to patreon.com/thedistraction, in which you can get many different podcasts that go very long. The Late Night Grin is a tremendous program that airs every Friday night after Rampage, and thus far has gone 4 hours, more than once. It's a wonderful time to be a wrestling fan, guys. Enjoy it. I want to thank everyone for reaching out over the last week. Last week's show was very dramatic, very epic. People were very nice. People were very open, shared a lot. I appreciate that. And just reiterating the core message of, if you want to talk to someone, we're open to it. I may be a little bit slow getting to DMs because I'm trying to not be as online, as the kids say. But I will reply to the to your DMs eventually. So yeah, thanks for all that good stuff. Subscribe to the Patreon. All hell.
Are we gonna be on Twitch?
I think so.
Okay, I didn't know.
We should do the Twitch. Let's do the Twitch.
All right, we'll be on Twitch, twitch.tv /Fightful Gaming. We'll be there in about 15 minutes or so, give or take. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/The Distraction. It's $1 a month, guys. $1. That's it. You get, if you enjoy this show, it supports us doing this show. If you enjoy Joseph's features that he never writes, it supports Joseph's features that he never writes. If you enjoy all of my work on Fightful, it supports that. And not only do you just support that stuff, you get like 50 hours of content each week. So it's $1 a month for a ton of content. And just whether it's live streams or just like fun videos. Again, I posted the video of the live reactions from All Out. I have more of those to post as well. I have karaoke videos to post. If me singing at the top of this show is not enough, I do full on performances. Yes. So, please, and before you can support us, please support us. It really helpful. Thank you to all of those who do support us. Being in Chicago this past week, I got to meet a lot of friends of the show that I'd never met before that I DM and I'm like, hey, can you do this silly bit on our show? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever you need. And I got to meet them and they had kind things to say about the show and everything. And I just met like total just fans, like just pals. I shouldn't say fans, fans of wrestling, pals of the show. I met Jake Shaw, met him at the show, and just people coming up to me. They either saw my Fightful mask or I was hanging out with Sean, so they saw me there. And like I said, I was on the elevator going down to smash the cold beers with Luther, and the gentleman was just like, Distraction Podcast. I was like, yes. He's like, really enjoy y'all's work. I said, sorry to hear that. But like just being recognized and all the support for all of this stuff, it means a lot. So thank you guys. Chicago was a blast, and none of it's possible without all the support that you guys give both of us. We'll be on Twitch, twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. We'll be back next week. Apparently we're going to celebrate my birthday next week. What else are we going to do? I don't know. We're just going to celebrate my birthday a day late. Yeah, we'll do that too. Thanks guys. We'll talk to y'all later on.